Welcome to Williamsburg, a recreation of colonial America. Williamsburg was made the capital of Virginia in 1699. A lot of very important history happened in Williamsburg, and we were given the chance to check it all out.
We started our tour at the Governor's Palace. This is the grandest house in Williamsburg and was the home of whichever governor was ruling at the time. The gate is adorned with a lion and a unicorn, the symbols for Britain.
Inside the palace, we are greeted by a huge display of weapons in the entryway. These weapons were simply to show what kind of power the governor had over the colony. There are exactly 540 weapons in the governor's palace.
The rooms we toured were very ornate. There was a ballroom where the governor would entertain his guests. Dancing was a very big part of the Virginians' lives, so a ballroom was essential.
We also got to see the bedrooms where the governor's kids would have stayed. If I had to live in any of the homes we've seen, it would definitely be this one.
Next on our tour, we explored the Wythe House. George Wythe was a noted scholar of the time and served on the House of Burgesses. He was of higher status in the colony, and you could tell this by his home. The Wythe House was built of brick, and this was a definite status symbol. Houses of the common people were usually frame houses with dormers.
After the Wythe House, we continued our tour at the Capitol House. One half of the Capitol House is the king's, while the others are the colonists. The first room we saw was the courthouse. It was here that all the felony trials were handled for the entire colony of Virginia. The punishment for being found guilty was either death or one warning. If you were lucky enough to get a warning, you were branded on your palm.
Next, we went to the meeting place of the House of Burgesses. It was here that the elected officials from the colonies met and the first seeds of rebellion and revolution were planted. Here, Patrick Henry insisted that the colonies defy England. Thomas Jefferson was also present. We got to see the actual chair that Thomas Jefferson would have sat in at one time. Then we went to our last room on the tour, which was where any meeting between the two houses would have taken place.
After we left the Capitol building, we headed down to the Bruton Parish Church. This church is a beautiful Episcopal church where very important people like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington attended. This church marks a monumental day in the history where all the colonists fasted and prayed for more independence from England.
When we went in the church, we actually got to see the pews where George Washington and Thomas Jefferson sat. The pews were different than modern churches. They were marked by families or people and were enclosed.
After touring all of these great buildings, we wandered up and down Duke of Gloucester, going in and out of many different shops. We stopped in to see the grocer where colonists would have gone to buy things they couldn't make themselves or things that had to be imported from England. Exploring colonial Williamsburg was like taking a trip back in time. It was here that the foundations of our country were laid and the American spirit was born. Who would have thought that the decisions of these men, made so long ago, would have created the country we live in today?